Right, it is the best time of the year. Finn, you might not agree, but me and John are definitely in that camp. It is International Week. Scotland have two games coming up now. Netherlands away on Friday and then Northern Ireland at home on Tuesday. Now, they are friendlies, but when you are just a couple of months away from the Euros, can any game really be taken that lightly? This is all massive warm-up games, and it is really just kind of whetting the appetite for all the fans really to get in the mood for what is going to be an amazing summer. I think the main topic, and we touched on this very lightly last week when the news came out that Callum McGregor had obviously not made the squad because of his Achilles injury. But I think the main thing to kind of look at firstly is who's going to come in for him? How are we going to shape up in midfield, and how much are things going to really change, John? What do you think?
Difficult one, isn't it? Because Ryan Christie's been playing that position for Bournemouth and excelled in that position. I notice he's been listed as a midfielder rather than a forward for the first time in a while. So is that a nod to him playing there? Kenny McLean obviously has played that position multiple times for club and country, effectively. So he's probably someone that will come in. I can see a scenario where one starts one game and one starts the other, and the fact they're both left-footed. People are saying Lewis Ferguson. I'm not sure if he'll be more of an advanced midfielder. I have a feeling Ferguson will start one of the games. I think there'll be a rotation between the two games. I think our strongest possible, or as close to our strongest possible, will be playing against the Netherlands, and there might be one or two changes for Northern Ireland games. But it's good that you highlight the importance of the games, Laura, because although they're friendlies, yes, we also want to halt this winless run that we're currently in. We're 5 games without a win, and you don't really want to go in a major tournament in the back of a bad run. I remember France '98. I think we went 5 games without a win at that point, and we didn't really play well in the tournament apart from the opening game. So you really want to get these victories as soon as possible to help build momentum again.
What do you do with midfield? Because like when I'm looking at the midfielders in the squad that have been called up, I think I would agree with you, John. I think potentially I would try to experiment across the two games. Probably given the strength of the opposition, you would play closer to your starting 11 or your more preferred and experienced players against the Netherlands, and then maybe try something that's a bit different against Northern Ireland. No disrespect to Northern Ireland, but just that makes sense to do. But looking at the players in the squad, to me, it's almost a bit more like, well, who kind of has to start? Who can you not afford to take out the team because of the way they've been playing? And obviously, McGinn, McTominay, and probably Billy Gilmore have to start. So then you're kind of left with, well, where does anybody else fall into that role? And it might be something that against the Netherlands, you try something that weirdly is more attacking. I don't know, a slightly different way that we would play with Callum McGregor in the midfield. Because to me, the two players that I would most like to see being used in some way and using the games as an experiment, which I think they should be used at because there's nothing at stake, is Lewis Ferguson and Ryan Christie, maybe in slightly different roles or just testing them. So I don't know, but what would be your preference over the course of two games, Laura?
Yeah, I think the Lewis Ferguson thing is so interesting because everyone is calling for him right now. He is obviously, captain of Bologna, scoring for fun right now in the Serie A. It's almost like that argument of, well, you've got Tierney and Robertson, how you've got to try and make your best players fit into the starting lineup, regardless of the fact that you're doubling up in positions. How do you make it work? So I can kind of see that argument of we have to accommodate Ferguson in some way. He's not going to directly replace McGregor though, because he doesn't sit so defensively week in, week out. So it doesn't make sense for him to go as a straight
Yeah,
replacement. It then
different
begs the
players.
question of how do you rejuggle that midfield to then go, well, okay, McGregor's missing. We want to bring in Ferguson. So that then begs the question of, well, who's going to slot in? Do you then go with just Gilmore defensively and change it from two back to just one sitting deep? I don't know if Gilmore is the player to just do that on his own. And then you go, well, okay, well, McTominay could go back there. I don't personally like McTominay in a defensive position. I like him. He plays better when he's more attacking. I feel as though he's a freer player. He enjoys that attacking role. He can embrace that more. And you see the best. And we saw it with what, 6 goals in the qualifiers, 7 if you count the Spain game, which I feel like we should because we got robbed out of it. I'm still not over that. Um, but then you go, okay, the Christie, that's a great example. Do we put Christie back there? If he's playing there week in, week out for the club, that's a great chance to put him deep. Armstrong can play deeper. Not sure that I'm a big fan of putting Armstrong back there. Maybe still slightly got PTSD from the England game. Really need to go over that. It was a long time ago. And then you've got likes of Kenny McLean, Ryan Jack, who are very capable replacements. I just don't feel like they're first team picks though. So there's still
No.
a lot of question marks there. There are options, but I don't feel like there's an obvious answer.
I think the other thing as well, it really is to me around the experimenting thing, because it's something I've definitely been critical, and I know other fans have been critical about Clark, because there's not a huge amount to be critical of, but I know certainly I've always felt that of the scant few times we play friendlies, I don't think Clark's used friendlies properly in trying different things, different systems. And I guess that takes us on to the point about the goalkeepers. I find it quite interesting he'd selected 4. He's called up 4. I don't know what you think about this, John. Like, what do you read into the 4 keepers being called up?
Yeah, I see a lot of people are commenting on, why we get 4 goalkeepers but only 3 strikers, which is
Craig Gordon up front. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we accommodate them.
Liam Kelly, defensive mids. No, I think what he's trying to do is, just keep everyone on side just now, because we know there's going to be 3 goalkeepers going, and he doesn't want the scenario where he's like, Liam Kelly, you're dropped because Craig Gordon's back, and then Craig Gordon gets injured again, or Xander Clark gets in and said, right, well, Liam, you're back in. You don't want to pee people off. So I don't know if that's part of his thinking. Plus, Craig Gordon has only had 3 Scottish Cup ties as well. However, right now, and Laura, I know you're a big fan of Liam Kelly, but I can't see him making this squad. I think even if Craig Gordon plays Scottish Cup ties, I think his experience will be enough to keep him in the squad. I don't think he'll be first choice. I think that'll be Gunn. I think that's Gunn's position to lose. And I think Clark's playing well enough at Hearts. But I don't think there's any harm in it. And in terms of up front, who would you have added to that squad? I mean, because I think Jacob Brown's injured, but he failed his audition against Norway, let's be honest. But Kevin Nisbet's injured again, and I'm not sure he's got it, to be perfectly honest. I don't think anyone's competing with the 3 that we've got, Adams, Dykes and Shankland, and which begs the other question, who starts the games? Shankland's got to start one of them for me. He's the most on-form striker of the 3. Adams is picked up, to be fair. Dykes is struggling a wee bit for goals, but, they're all good options, but Shankland needs to start one of them. I think he's only started one international game in his 7 appearances, and that was against San Marino, which was, pre-COVID. It would be nice to see him get a start, because I think he deserves a start in one of the games, probably Northern Ireland.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we started this season, the chat was very much, well, when we qualified, the chat was, will Shankland even make the squad? And I think now everyone is in agreement. There's no way we can leave him out the squad after the season he's had. He is potentially in line for Player of the Year. And he has a different element, because Dykes and Adams don't play as your natural out-and-out goal scorer that can just knock one in from 6 yards out. And again, this is where the kind of experimentation comes into it. I'm with you, John. I think the Northern Ireland game could be one where we see him start and a little bit of experimentation there. But I mean, you're talking about who would you bring in? I think the question is, who do you leave out? We see a, what's that, a 25-man squad, 26-man squad we've got just now for this doubleheader. It's only going to be a 23-man squad that goes to Germany. So you look at it, right? You obviously a goalie's going to drop out. We know that. That's a given. 3 will go to Germany. One of the 4 will drop out. And Callum McGregor, we hope, will be fit, so will come back in. So then who misses out? Who would you say? And even at that, Aaron Hickey could come back in as well. So that begs the question of 3 could drop out. So based on this squad, who do you think are the 2 or 3 that's going to drop out, leaving the goalie situation for now?
It's fair to say Anthony Nelson's only cover for Hickey just now. Hickey's apparently due back at the start of May. So if he comes back and he has a couple of bounce games with Brentford, he should make the squad. So Ralston would drop out for him. I personally think he'll take Taylor, because Tierney's a centre-back. No matter what people say, Tierney is in this Scotland squad as a centre-back first, and you couldn't take Tierney and Robertson as your only left-backs, given Tierney's injury record. Because if Robertson gets injured or suspended, and are you relying on Tierney being fit? I think you're losing a couple of the centre halves at the moment, and It's an interesting debate. Like, I think Hendry will definitely go. I think Portis will definitely go. I think Tierney's obviously going. It's then which two go with him. I think Hanley will probably make it now, and then it's just one of the rest, and that's a difficult call. But I'm glad Steve Clark's making that decision, not any of us three.
I think there's also that it tends to happen a lot, especially as you get towards the end of the season and maybe teams, their club teams or whatever, involved in cup runs or relegation battles or title fights. If it's English Championship or something, there might be niggles and small injuries and things that will just force people in and out the squad. So you need to be adaptable to that too. Just going back to the striker situation, I really like having that three as the three to choose from, in particular with Dykes, Adams and Shankland, because I think they give you three completely different skill sets depending on the opposition. Because I would say Dykes is great because he's great at holding up the ball and bringing midfielders into the game. So he's the power. Adams is the runner. So he's able to stretch defenses, play on the counter-attack, if that's how we want to do it. And Shankland, to me, is the finisher in those three. He's the one that's, if you know you're going to probably get more chances in front of goals, he will put more than most of them away. So to have those options there, and again, like that can work in rotation of, say, you start Dykes to give them a physical battle, maybe if it's a bigger team like Germany or something in the opening game, for an hour or so. Then when the legs start to get a bit more stretched, that might be for Adams then. Or if you feel like the legs are still in Germany, but you just need somebody with that cutting edge to get through, Shank would be the one that would come on. Or do you want to go from the off straight into the opposition, try and establish a lead or do something? Maybe you start Shankland. So I think it's kind of more depending on the opposition, but I'm just hopeful, like you're saying, John, that Shankland starts at least one of them and he just gets a bit more of that freedom to know that he's part of this squad, not just like a kind of orphan at the bakery window trying to look in. I think that's changed from the start of the season, as you were alluding to, Laura.